Greetings and welcome to this basic quality management system awareness based on ISO 9001 of 2015. This is brought to you by the Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is the agency of the Department of Small Business Development. I hope and trust that this training is going to benefit and add value to your organizations. And good luck with the awareness. Our training is divided into two modules. This is what we are going to cover in module 1. We'll discuss introduction to ISO. What is the history of this ISO? When did it start? We will discuss what ISO 9001 is all about. We'll also define what quality is. We'll also discuss the quality management system, or the QMS. What does it involve? If I have it, what needs to be in place? We'll also discuss the benefits of quality management system. If I'm having this system in my organization, how will it benefit me? The 7 principles of quality management system. What are these principles? We'll discuss them one by one in order for you to understand and how they apply to your organization. We'll also discuss the process approach. We will also discuss what we call the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, or the PDCA cycle. What are the steps which are involved in this cycle? And how do we ensure that we do them or we apply them in our own organization? And lastly, we will conclude. Now, let's discuss the brief background about ISO. Where is it based? What does it stand for? When was it formed? ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. It is a non-governmental body and it is based in Geneva, Switzerland. That is where the headquarters are. ISO is derived from the word isos, which means equal. ISO was formed in 1947 by national standard bodies from different countries. South Africa is a member of ISO through the South African National Standards, that is SANS, which is a division within South African Bureau of Standards, that is SABS. Currently, ISO consists of more than 120 member bodies, and all these members are equal under ISO. This training is based on a document called the ISO 9001 standard. So, what is this document all about? This ISO 9001 is a standard that specifies the requirements for a quality management system that can be adopted by any kind of organization or business. This document, called the standard, tells us what must be in place in an organization for you to successfully implement an effective quality management system in order for you to provide good quality products or services to your customers. It tells you that you need policies, you need to establish your goals or objectives, you need to have infrastructure in place, you need to conduct audits, you need to evaluate your performance, and also need to continually improve your products and services. This standard can be used by anybody, whether you manufacture tangible products or offer services to your customers. Whether you are a startup or already an established business, you can use this standard irrespective of the size of your business. This system is focused on meeting customer requirements and enhancing of customer satisfaction. Your customers will tell you that they want a product with certain performance characteristics or features such as speed, durability, reliability, strength, and your responsibility as an organization is to provide the product having those characteristics and nothing less. This system puts customers at the center of your focus, because without your customers, you don't have any business. So ensure that you understand their requirements and must always strive to meet those stated requirements and even go beyond their minimum requirements, of course, if it is possible, to enhance their satisfaction. Quality, by definition, is the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills the requirements. The customer will provide their product or service specifications to your business. Say you are in a business of servicing cars and your customers bring their car to your workshop for a service. And this service includes the changing of oil, filter, and wiper plates. And your organization or business has a duty to change oil, filters, and wiper plates for that car. If as an organization or business you are able to provide those services as specified, then it means you are able to fulfill your customers' requirements, which in turn implies that your customers will regard those services as quality. In the previous slide, we discussed quality and we said quality is your ability as a business or organization to provide product or services according to your customer requirements. So how do we achieve that? We need to have a system in place to enable us to fulfill our customers' requirements. This system is called the quality management system. And this system direct and control our organization with regard to quality. And the adoption of this quality management system is a strategic decision for an organization that can help to improve its overall performance on quality. Meaning, it is the responsibility of the business owner or top management, and by the way, not employees, to decide if they want the quality management system as part of their strategy to improve their performance with regard to quality. Top management also has a responsibility to provide resources such as money, people, equipment. So, this responsibility of providing these resources cannot be put on the employees' shoulders. Quality management system include the following amongst others: policies, procedures, processes, work instructions, and records. All of these pulled together, they form what we call a system. And this system must be adhered throughout the organization by everyone. So, quality management system is a system put in place which can be followed by everyone in the organization when no one is watching them. This system ensures that products and services are done or produced according to the same processes. So the outputs will be the same. One might ask, but what will be the benefits for me as an organization if I have the quality management system in place. These will be the benefits. Your organization will have the ability to consistently provide products and services that meet customer and applicable statutory and regulatory requirements. By having quality management system, you'll be able to provide products or offer services in the same way all the time. You will use the same methods, procedures, work instructions, checklist, irrespective of who is manufacturing the product or offering the service at that time. You will also ensure that you identify any legal requirements that applies to your work. Say your work has an impact on the environment, such as when you work you generate harmful waste. You will identify which environmental laws apply and will apply to those laws as applicable. Also, you will identify which regulatory bodies apply to your work, such as SARS, the CIPC, and ensure that you comply with their mandatory requirements. So for example, SARS, you need to pay tax. So you will ensure that when tax is due, you do make those payments. Again, the benefit is for addressing risk associated with your objectives or goals, meaning you will proactively identify any possible risk and come up with mitigating factors in order to ensure that you are better prepared in case they do happen. Again, you will have the ability to demonstrate conformity to specified quality management system requirements. By having a quality management system, you will have specific procedures that must be followed by anyone in the organization in order to manufacture products or offer services in such a way that you will be able to fulfill your customers' requirements or specifications. And where things go wrong, you will have processes to follow in order to correct the wrongs, so that the conformity to those requirements is maintained before the product is sent to the customer. Again, you will also have checks and balances to monitor your compliance by conducting audits to gauge how you are complying to your own quality management system. Again, by having quality management system in place, you will have improved control of documented information. Ordinarily in business, you need documents to control your processes, such as procedures, methods, recipes, work instructions. This documented information need to have a specified way or format that they must be written on. So, if these documents are developed, they must be kept safe, either in hard copy or electronic format. And as a business, you will decide in which format you keep them. And these documents, when you give them to your employees, you must have record of who you gave these documents to. In this way, you'll have control over them, meaning you will know where which document is when you need it. Again, in order for you to prove that you are working according to a quality management system, you need to have evidence about it. This evidence can be in the form of documented information such as completed checklist, records of training or certificates, registers for recording readings from machines or equipments. Your quality management system will enable you to keep track of this documented information within your organization. ISO 9001 is based on 7 quality management principles, namely customer focus, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision making, and relationship management. These principles forms the backbone of ISO 9001, meaning if an organization you can successfully implement these principles as a basis for your operations, you are more likely to have a successful quality management system. We will discuss each of these principles shortly. The first principle is the customer focus. As organizations, we depend on our customers for survival. Without them, we don't have any business. You rely on them to buy your products and services. Making them happy should be your priority. If your customers are not happy with your products or services, you need to ensure that you rectify and make sure that also you don't repeat the same mistake again. Also, you need to understand their current and future needs. You need to ensure that you know and understand what your customers want from you, such as the design of the products or their features. Again, customers want the obvious, such as best price, on-time delivery, and an efficient services. Know what your customers will want from you in future. So, you must do research on what technology is available in the market, which will also enable you to improve your products and services so that when that time arrives, you will be able to fulfill their needs. Because if you cannot keep up with the future needs of your customers, your competitors will occupy that space and your customers will move to your competitors. Again, if it is possible, you must meet and exceed customer expectations. You do this by ensuring that you understand their expectations so that you will be able to fulfill them. As customers always expect you to deliver on your promises. So, if you promise to deliver a certain amount of products on a certain date, they will expect you to deliver on that agreed date. But if it is possible, deliver before the promised date in order to delight them or exceed their expectations. As an organization, your employees need to know the direction that the organization is taking. They want to know what you want to achieve as an organization. This must be provided by leadership or the business owners. Leaders must establish purpose and direction of the organization. As with any organization, support must come from the top. Without good leadership, an organization will suffer. Leaders should set a vision and goals for the company or organization. By uniting the employees with their common purpose, along with praise and appreciation, organizations are able to achieve a lot. As leaders, you need to lead from the front. And as leaders, you need to create and maintain an environment which is conducive to achieving the organization's objectives or goals. Leaders must provide resources such as people, infrastructure, machinery, money to the employees so that they can be able to provide or offer services by utilizing these resources. The work environment must be conducive in order to enable employees to achieve the organization's goals, meaning it must enable them to be able to work towards achieving these goals that the organization has set for itself without any distraction. The environment must also be safe, and they must be protected from any harm that might arise. As an organization, ensure that you engage your employees on issues that affect their responsibilities. As people of all levels are the essence in an organization. Without your employees, you will not have anyone who will manufacture those products or offer services to your customers. In other words, your employees are the lifeblood of your business. Value everyone, irrespective of the level or responsibility in the organization. Value and accept their inputs. Appreciate and acknowledge them. Engage your employees on issues related to their area of responsibilities. Engagement also enables improvement as well as learning. Their full involvement will be to the organization's benefit. If in any case there are changes that need to be introduced, ensure that they are aware of these changes. These can be changes to procedures, suppliers, and equipment. So your employees must not just see things happening. They must be informed. From tomorrow, this procedure is no longer going to be used. From next week or next month, we are changing suppliers. And again, if there are problems with products or processes, involve them during problem-solving initiatives, as they are the ones who operate these processes. And it's very likely that they will be able to advise where problems might be and suggest solutions as well. The fourth principle is the process approach. Desired results are achieved more efficiently and effectively when activities and resources are managed as a process. You should know when your processes start and when it ends. For example, the production cannot start before purchasing of raw materials. So you must design your processes in such a way that you know when you must do which process in order to achieve a specific outcome or output. We will expand more on the process approach later in this presentation. For your business to remain relevant, you need to ensure that you continuously improve your products or services. So, successful organizations have an ongoing focus on improvement. Organizations operate in a very competitive environment, so they must always strive to improve their products or services. And we normally say in any process, there is always a room for improvement. A strong quality management system requires change. Without improvement or change, organizations will ultimately be overtaken by their competitors. Find new ways of doing things. Find faster ways of manufacturing your products without compromising your quality, of course, so that you are able to deliver to your customers faster. Improvement requires small incremental steps. This can be characterized by involvement of all employees producing daily improvements. In our businesses, on a daily basis, we take decisions. We might decide we no longer want to use this machine. we might decide we no longer want to use this supplier. But according to our quality management system, it says we must use evidence-based decision making. And it says effective decisions are based on the analysis and evaluation of data and information and are more likely to produce desired results. During the operation of your processes, ensure that you collect data such as customer complaints, machine readings, and records generated must be kept safe. Ensure that the results of experiments are collected and all this information you have at your disposal is analyzed. And the results of analysis can then inform your decisions going forward. Say you collected data from a machine over a certain period, and later it's found that that machine produced defective products over that particular period. But since you collected data, you will then analyze that data and take decision which is sound, because it will be based on the data that you collected and analyzed. Here you will not use your gut feelings, but facts. As businesses, for us to succeed, we rely on other people or organizations. So we need to ensure that we manage this relationship with them in a responsible manner. For sustained success, organizations manage their relationship with relevant parties. An organization should manage their relationship with interested parties, thereby creating a mutually beneficial relationship that enhances the ability of both to create value. Ensure that you have a good relationship with your employees, with your suppliers, with your regulatory bodies, and that this relationship is based on trust and respect so that you can create value for each other. This standard employs the process approach, which incorporates the plan, do, check, act, that is the PDCA cycle. The process approach. An organization functions through a set of activities related to each other, and these activities transform inputs into outputs, and these activities are referred to as processes. So these processes will be, for example, your HR, marketing, finance, production, storage, and so on, depending on the size of your business. Your organization or operations as a whole must be observed as a process. You observe all individual activities in your business as processes. You separate these company processes and you determine their sequence, their interaction, inputs and outputs, and determine which processes can start and finish before other processes are started. This can be established by using flowchart as an example. And for each activity or process, you determine the inputs required. What processes must be followed to enable you to convert inputs into outputs? And so, you identify inputs, processes, output, for example, HR, then inputs, process, output for procurement, and so on. And you identify these inputs, process, outputs for all your processes, including their interaction, which is at. For us to understand the process approach and how to apply it, let's consider the following example. We'll discuss two activities. First activity will be the purchasing, and we'll call it process number 1. The second activity will be production. We'll call it process number 2. And we said for every activity or process, we must identify inputs, processing, and the outputs. So for the purchasing, this will be the purchasing of raw materials from the suppliers. The inputs will be your purchasing policy, specifications, and budget. And the actual activity will be the ordering of these raw materials from suppliers. And the outputs will be the raw materials after they are delivered from the suppliers. And you must make sure that these raw materials that you receive from your suppliers are acceptable, are according to the specifications that we have given them, so that they will be acceptable into the next process. They will not be rejected, in other words. So, for production or process number 2, the inputs will be raw materials, labor, procedures, measuring equipment, machines, and specifications. And the activity will be the actual conversion of raw materials into the final product. This will include mixing, measuring, doing verification, and after this processing, you will have the final product or finished product. This product must then move into another process. This will be your process number 3. It can be your storage. So during storage, you will identify what will be the inputs, what will be the processing, what will be the outputs, and then move to process stage number 4, number 5, until the product has been delivered to your customer. Here is an example of a simple manufacturing workflow or process approach. Again, in your organization, you will determine how many processes you have and align them in terms of their sequence or interactions to each other. In this example, process stage 1 is for the suppliers. This is where you are purchasing your raw materials. So you need to identify what the inputs, process, and outputs for process stage 1 are. And then you will have to go to stage 2. You do the same. When you are receiving these raw materials from your suppliers, what will be your inputs, what will be your process and outputs? Stage 3, manufacturing. You do the same. Inputs, process, and outputs. And you repeat all that process until the end of your processes. Earlier in the presentation, we spoke about your organization when we said you need to ensure that you continually improve your processes. So this concept of the Plan, Do, Check, Act or the PDCA cycle will help your organization in achieving that continual improvement. So it's divided into 4 parts: plan, do, check, and acting part. During the planning part, you ensure that processes are adequately resourced, such as having people including their capabilities, infrastructure, standard operating procedures, work instructions, equipments, including computers if they are required. And in the doing part, if your job is to provide cleaning services to your customer, Under this part is where you perform the actual cleaning. And you do this by applying policies, procedures, and generate records in the process, such as completing checklist. After you have provided the service, you need to check what you have done, meaning you have planned, but now what you have done in the doing phase. What does the data that you have collected tell you about your processes? And you do this in order to determine the effectiveness of these activities. And then in the acting part, you have planned what you are going to do. You have done what you prepared to do. You have checked whether you did what you have actually planned. Now you ensure that opportunities for improvement are determined and that they are acted upon. The PDCA cycle should be an ongoing cycle that drives the organization towards continual improvement. Following is a task that you need to complete in order to gauge whether you have understood what we have discussed so far. For your business, identify all the processes that you have. Establish the interaction between these processes, and for each process, determine what the inputs, process, and outputs will be. So you are going to determine, I have marketing department, or I have someone who's responsible for marketing. I have procurement. I have HR. I have production. I have storage. And then you will determine out of all these processes, how are they related to each other? Which one must happen before the other one can continue? And for all these processes, you identify what are the inputs to this process? What is the process that I must undertake in order to convert these inputs into the output, which must then fit into the next process? And then you do it for all your processes. In conclusion, we now know the benefits of having quality management system in our organizations. We know that we will be able to provide or manufacture products in the same way all the time to our customers. We'll know if we've got documents that need to be stored in our organization. It will help us in order to control those documents. We now also know that by having a quality management system, we will be able to continually improve our processes. And we also discussed the 7 principles. So these principles must serve as a starting point. So if you've got no quality management system in place, quality management principles must serve as a starting point for your organization. And then you will gradually improve by incorporating the other requirements. These are some of the online training which are offered by Seda, such as your customer service, bookkeeping, business skills, food hygiene, and business planning. Feel free to access these online trainings on our platforms. And for any training questions or enquiries, feel free to send an email to onlinetrainingfeedback@seda.org.za, and please indicate the name of the training on the subject line. So if you are inquiring about quality management system, on the subject line you will write basic quality management systems. With that, thank you from us, and we hope that the information that you have learned will add value and contribute to the success of your organization. For any information that you would like to know from Seda, please visit our website, which is www.seda.org.za. Thank you.